Hello and welcome to The Last Video Store, a show where I, Alexi Toliopoulos, Australia's movie maestro, talks to interesting people about their favourite movies. On the show this week, we've got filmmaker Dylan River. Dylan River has got a new series that he's written and directed called Thou Shalt Not Steal. It's on Stan. It rocks. It's got this kind of Quentin Tarantino meets Coen Brothers energy. It's that kind of crimey comedy, also road movie. You guys know how much I fucking love road movies. I'll give you a little synopsis. Robin, a young Aboriginal delinquent, escapes from detention and reluctantly teams up with an awkward teenager, Gidge. Together, they flee her small central desert community on a perilous journey across the outback. This is a great one to watch because, as you know, I'm not a big TV guy, but this is like a limited series, so it's that one contained journey. That is what I want. It feels extremely cinematic. I give this a huge recommendation. We're going to be talking to Dylan River, the creator of the show, in just a moment. And you know what, for Dylan, because I want to hear about some of his favorite movies ever, we're opening up the weekly section. We're giving him a new deal. We're giving him 3 weekly titles. I'm still going to give him a recommendation based on his taste, but I'm going to let him get 3 weeklies, okay? This is an old school video store guy. We're giving him 3 weeklies and a star pick recommendation based on his taste. And if you want your own recommendation based on your very own specific taste, you can hit us up in a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Hit us up on the Last Video Store, but Twitter, Instagram, on the YouTube comments if you're watching us on YouTube, anything like that with your own picks. And I'll give you a recommendation. Emmeline, our dearest producer, our soldier of cinema, tell us what we've got coming down the line from one of our online customers.
Well, firstly, Dylan is a man after my own heart because I would never hire new releases.
Wow.
Never, ever, always weekly.
Cheapskate. We got a cheapskate in the store today.
I was a cheapskate.
Yeah.
But I'd also take advantage of the 5 for $5, or was it 7 for $7?
It's different in different places.
Yes.
Different in different places.
But I wanted quantity.
Yes.
I wanted lots of movies.
I want lots of movies.
So this one is from Matt Kearns.
Oh, Matt Kearns. Thank you,
Potentially Matt Kearns
Oh,
or
Matt Kearns.
Mitt Corns, maybe?
Mitt Corns. We love you, Mitt Corns. Thank you for coming into the store today, butter.
They say, first time, long time. I've formed and clarified so much of my taste in movies and art more broadly from listening to Alexi over the years.
Wow.
This format...
That's really nice.
I know. It only gets nicer.
Oh, no.
This format is such a joy and always learn from really interesting guests. Alexi is a wonderful and generous interviewer, meeting his guests at their level. I don't agree 100% of the time, but that is part of the joy and tension of the experience.
That's good. I want to rustle some feathers, you know?
Love any chance to listen to the greatest film mind of our generation
God.
talk shop in the shop.
This is too much. Delete this review. Delete it from the record. It's too nice.
No, the pics are too good.
Okay.
New release, May, December. Weeklies.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies in the last few years. I love May, December.
Weeklies, Election, and Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. These are 3 all-times for me. Okay, you know what? People don't go back to it, but go back to the original 1960s Little Shop of Horrors. That's my
Oh.
recommendation. The original one, Jack Nicholson in a small role. Jack Nicholson, one of his first films. And I'd pair that, here's a second one for you, Bucket of Blood. Roger Corman made these 2 movies, Bucket of Blood and Little Shop of Horrors, the same week on the same
Stop
sets.
it.
Because they were so cheap, they turned them around so fast. Both are 2 of my favorite horror comedies, ones that I think about a lot, that I don't think anybody has seen much of. And Bucket of Blood is sick.
Say Bucket of Blood again.
Bucket of Blood. We got Bucket of Blood and the original Little Shop of Horrors. Check them both out. I don't think they're seen nearly enough. And they're both how do you say, out of copyright, so you can just watch them for free on YouTube or whatever.
Classic.
Basically, any site on the internet is allowed to stream for free Little Shop of Horrors and Bucket of Blood.
Perfect for a cheapskate like me.
Absolutely. That's why it's for you, mate. That's why it's for you as well. But thank you. What a lovely review. And let us get into our chat with Dylan River right now.
The Last Video Store.
Man, well, Dylan River, thank you so much for joining us here in The Last Video Store. Quite a journey to bring you in here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
This is a perfect place for you. We've got every single movie on our shelves here. But I want to kind of kick things off asking you, did you have a video store growing up as well?
Yeah, I did. Look, I was fortunate to be born in the 90s. It was VHS.
A great decade.
I experienced the transition from VHS to DVD in the video store.
Yep.
You know, I remember, VHSs pulling them out and blowing the backs of them and then trying to put them back in and they're all scratched and shit. But I'd Blockbuster, Video Easy. What I really remember about video stores is the overdue fees and always having those.
Yeah, well, we still have them here, mate. And I'm enforcing those laws with a mighty fist, so be careful.
And like the banned list, the people's faces, you're not allowed to get any videos from here.
Did you ever make it onto that banned list?
No, I didn't. Fortunately, it was I was at an age where it was my parents paying for the videos and it was them racking up the bills.
Did you have a favorite film back in the day that was like a discovery for you back then?
Look, I've grown up, loved The Lion King. I mean, that's just classic Shakespearean animation Disney perfection for me. It's a musical that makes you laugh with comedy that makes you cry at the same time. It's what I pursue as a filmmaker is balance in stuff, not too funny, not too sad, not too serious, and just trying to find that balance is what I think animations and that period of Disney, like Lion King going into Pixar with Toy Story. Toy Story is like storytelling perfection. Yes. I remember those really clearly, and those were ones that we definitely owned at home. But then that transition to, The Little Rascals. That was a big one for me.
That's one of my faves too. Love The Little Rascals. That growing up, I was like, fuck, that's what it's like to be American. I'd love to be American.
Yeah. I mean, and it's really like these kids being adults, but it's for kids. And I love that. It was really mixing up the genre, Or Home Alone, that's my era.
I think you and I must be the exact same age there because those are all my same ticks as well. Lion King was the first film I ever saw in the cinema. I'm like right there with you. I think it's one of those actual perfect films. And like you said, it's that beautiful balance of tones. It's got the first fart ever in a Disney animated film, but it's also got so much stuff that resonates so deeply with me still today when you've got if I say it out loud, I'll have the shivers and the chills. Talk about the death of Mufasa.
The death of Mufasa is just heartbreaking, And I mean, at that age, I remember watching it, and my mum and dad had split up. My dad wasn't around, hadn't seen him much that much lately, and watching that scene just got me every single time.
It's just so well paced and so well just balanced, like you said. It's the balance that makes everything hit harder. It makes the comedy funnier. It makes the dark stuff sadder. It makes everything resonate to you because, heck, brother, that's life. We've got all the tones mashed up in our own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got this new show, Thou Shalt Not Steal, that is getting fucking such rave reviews. Just got a 5-star in The Guardian today. And I think it is exactly that same kind of mix of tones and balance. Can you talk about the genesis of this show? Where does it begin?
Yeah, I mean, first, how can anything get 5 stars, honestly? I'm like, no, it doesn't get 5 stars. That's bullshit. Thank you, Luke Buckmaster, for giving us that. And the write-up was beautiful, but I'm like, there's nothing that perfect. For me, it's still, I hate it. It's a pile of shit, and I've watched it too many times. But
I'll give it 2 stars for you to get the balance out there.
No, but the response today, I mean, it's out today, and I'm sitting here, and it's such a relief for me. It's a big sigh. I'm just letting go my breath that I've been holding in for years while making this.
But you lost 48 kilos today.
Yeah. I've got a bit of a cold. I think like as a filmmaker, we always talk about you get to the end of a long project and you just get sick.
Yeah, the body's like, we got to do something about this. Yeah. You got to take a break, please.
Yeah, but look, it's been it's a crazy road trip in the 80s. It follows a young girl called Robin. She breaks out of juvenile detention and finds out she's got her dead father's not dead, and he lives down the Stewart Highway, which is south of Alice Springs, and she goes on this trip kind of trying to find her father. And it's not really to meet her father. She couldn't care less. It's just to give him something back that belongs to him. And, the making of this TV show has been very much like the chaos of the show, and I'm happy to have it out. And
Yeah, how does the idea come about for you? Because you co-wrote it with your cousin, right?
Yeah, my cousin Tanith. We just, we're both from Alice Springs. We grew up there. We got the same sense of humour, which bounce ideas off each other. And we came up with it really based off. We made it like a little web series called Robbie Hood for SBS.
SBS, yeah, great series as well.
Thank you. And that was really just, 6-10-minute episodes, I think it was. And that did, really well for a web series, and people liked it, which was odd because we were just making something that we wanted to watch, and it was off the back of that. We made that with Ludo, who make Bluey, make that kids show, and they wanted to see what we could do and how we could make it bigger. So like the backstory of Thou Shalt Not Steal was in Robbie Hood, he has a mother that's passed away, whose name is Robin in my head. And I went, well, I want to tell his mum's story, back in the day. And we don't advertise it to be connected, but that's really where it came from.
Yeah. And what's it like making films with your family? Because it's like you're from one of the great filmmaking families here in Australia. And from an outsider looking inwards, like I've always thought like this feels like such a great continuing storytelling tradition. It's like so exciting for me. I'll admit I'm a fan of you and your family. I'll admit it.
Thank you. Look, it's just normal. I mean,
Yeah.
Butchers' sons become butchers sometimes. Like, there is a lot of family businesses that people follow. It's just like in the arts. I mean, sometimes it's considered, I don't know, like there's a bit of nepotism in there. You think like preference, but my family have been very supportive. But I tried to avoid being a filmmaker for a long time. I wanted to be a professional motorbike rider and other things, and
you had to rebel somehow.
Yeah, I just it's also like growing up and seeing your parents being broke, and they like don't make films, like we got no money, and they were struggling, but I kind of just fell into it in high school. A mate of mine wanted to be a filmmaker, and he asked me to help him make a film, and I did. He thought I knew how to do it because my parents are filmmakers, and I sort of just fell in love with it. And I was doing it in secret for a while, not telling my parents that I'm doing it,
That's so funny. Just experimenting on the side.
And then I showed my dad, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, what do you want to make films? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, and it's interesting. Like, I'd show my mum stuff and she'd critique it, and my dad would just like cry. Like, it wasn't meant to be sad, but he would just cry like with proudness. And I think
that's beautiful.
I think I definitely went, I like this. I like what I'm getting from my family and the response they're having to me creating things. Like a kid showing something they made to their parents. It's you want them to be proud of you.
Yeah, and with Thou Shalt Not Steal, what is it that you want to express with this show?
Look, I just want people to have fun. I think I made Mystery Road and the Origin the last season, and it was a great opportunity. I put everything into it, and I couldn't help but with that story, it's really hard hitting, and it went on the ABC, and I couldn't help but feel like we were kind of preaching to the converted. Like everyone watching it, like they loved it, or for the most part. But it's sort of like they were already allies to what we were trying to say, if you know what I mean.
I understand,
Whereas with this show, it's like, nah, let's just have a lot of fun. Let's show a different side of Aboriginal Australia and of Outback Australia. Let's lean into cliches, but then put twists on them. Let's just filmmaking's like, I don't know, like being on set and stuff, it's really tough. And when you make a comedy or make something fun, it just lines everything, So I just really enjoy the experience, and I wanted to make something absorbable. The series is 8 half-an-hour episodes, but the first ep's actually like 18 minutes long. It just, the idea is that you can just kind of go next. Oh, we're halfway through. Oh, almost there. And you end up just watching a 3-hour-long film sort of broken up.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk to you about genre. Like, what does genre mean to you? Because the way I've talked about it on this show before, but the way that I think about genre is that it is a language that audiences understand, and they're like fluent in it, whether they know it or not. They understand genre, and here you're kind of playing with like multiple tones of genre, with road movie, bit of Western theme as well. Can you talk about like communicating to an audience through genre?
Yeah, I mean, genre to me is really trying to put everything's a genre, but when something needs to be sold to an audience, you want to know what you're going to watch. You don't want to know the story, but we want to know, am I watching funny? Am I watching scary? Am I watching sad? What am I watching? And I think it's just because like you're in a mood for something, and that's what genre comes into. And like the stereotypes of genre is horror, and sci-fi, but it's really everything.
Yeah.
And I think this series deliberately does have everything, and it makes it a bit messy, but it was just a fine line of trying to go, if we're being too funny, we need to go serious. And if we're too serious, we need to go back to funny. And now I think it's the moment to go sad. And, I've been quite anxious going, have we fucked it up and mixed it up too much? Are people going to, be able to keep up with the pace and not go, oh, that was inappropriate to go to that tone at that time. But look, audiences will be the judge of that. They'll either like it or they won't.
Was that in the scripting phase when you're writing it, like finding the balance there?
Yeah, absolutely. And then all the way through, it was a scripting phase. When you're on set, I like to ad lib a little bit, but I'm usually losing things, not adding things. But sometimes like that's not going to work. I can already see it. I have an instinct that's not going to work. You just got to go with that. But then when you're editing, you're still rewriting. You're cutting. You're taking things out. You're swapping things around. You're going, we could hold that, but I think if we just jump out of there really quick, it's going to be a more abrupt, funny ending to the scene than trying to end it as you naturally would have written it.
It's that continuing evolving where like editing is the final draft process, like that final scripting process almost.
Yeah, and I think I learned that through like, you know, my first few things I did were documentaries. That was just a sort of, I knew that I wanted to do drama narrative, but documentaries were easy access into things. It meant I could film it myself, record it myself, edit it myself to a certain extent. And with documentaries, the ones I was doing, which were kind of ob docs, you in the editing phase are writing the script.
Yeah.
And you can you could manipulate performances that are real to make someone funny or make a character dislikable or make a character, like all sorts of different ways. And I think I learned skills in that I now can take to drama and kind of go, okay, well now let's keep rewriting in the edit. It's not locked off. We're not just trying to make it smooth. We're actually trying to make it better and better and better.
I think that's so fascinating because like a lot of my background is in factual storytelling as well. And I've always found it, now that I'm trying to do a little bit more of like narrative again, I find it really hard to like break my brain around, because when I'm doing factual, I go, well, I've got everything here. Like it's all, my canvas is reality that I'm working on. And then trying to break a story going, okay, well, this is true. Do I have to think about every single thing? It's kind of hard to weave between the two. But it's interesting to hear how one has informed the other for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I haven't done a doco in a while, and I'd love to do it again. I'm just not really looking for a story per se. I just waiting to come across it.
Yes.
But I do feel like docos also started blurring into fiction in the sense that like now docos you can shoot them and kind of plan them, like film with a real person, but almost plan the whole thing like it's written.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like so many different forms. They're just starting to merge across, yeah.
I think that's always been the way for me. I've never really I did some ob-doc stuff in film school, but it's always been for me like a lot of it is writing, a lot of it is researching, a lot of it is investigating, but then also building it into comedy as well. So it's kind of a weird thing. And now I'm trying to break my head back around to just going like, okay, make something up, brother.
Yeah,
you can't just find reality everywhere.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I've been more leaning towards ob-doc. I did this thing, it's on Netflix, Think There and Back. It follows a motorbike race in Alice Springs in my hometown. I'm a big motorbike nerd, love racing and desert racing. And yeah, I followed that. And I think the scary thing about, ob-doc and doing that, and making any films, it's just like the unknown and what's going to go wrong and will you have a story?
Yeah.
And when you're really following people like a fly on the wall, what's going to happen? And, you want something to happen.
Something's got to happen.
Really dramatic, but also you get really connected to these people because
Yeah.
you're filming their lives. And like in this instance, like I don't want one of my characters to die or get hurt, but at the same time, I need something to happen for the drama of the story. So it's like almost life and death storytelling. Yeah, full on.
Yeah, I mean, beautifully put. I reckon we should get into some of your choices, some of your favorite films. I'm going to send you out into the video store. But before I do that, it's sometimes when you're making stuff, it's hard to keep up with films. Are you a big film watcher?
No, I'm not. And it's hard. Like it's hard to make something and then tell people I don't watch anything. But I do watch stuff. I just go through periods. Like I've just spent 2 years staring at screens and thinking about storytelling. Yeah. And to go home and look at a screen and watch a story and absorb it is just not where my mind's at.
It's work. It's like work,
It is like work. And I also just can't, I'll be watching it, but I'm just daydreaming about my own thing, And so it's just I don't do it justice. If I watch it in that headspace, I need to be in the right place. And so what I do is I just watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of DIY. I watch a lot of things of people doing things with their hands. And I find that my way of switching off is sort of more reality based.
So we'll give you a big fat stack of Carpenter videos as well that you can watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we could review some DIY videos.
All right, we'll put those in your stack as well.
But look, I will, I've just finished this project and now I'll go through a couple of years as I write my next one where I will catch up on the last 2 years of films and then I'm in a good place,
Well, I'll also give you a recommendation on this show based on some of your choices. So hopefully that can be in your next journey as well.
I'd love that. Thank you.
All right. We're going to send you into the weekly section. We're going to get some old flicks for you, some of your all-time favorites. Coming back, let's talk about them.
Weekly.
Well, here you've got a beautiful stack of movies, my friend. Beautiful stack of movies. We're going to talk about this one that's sitting on the top of this pile. And yes, it is a metaphorical pile right now. We don't have an actual pile in front of us. But this is one that I've just revisited. I think one of the great like art house films of all time. One of the great access gateway points into like a bigger cinema for a lot of people. From Wim Wenders, we've got Paris, Texas.
Art house.
Can you tell me about when this film came into your life, or what is this film? People haven't seen it.
It actually only came into my life in the last few years. I'd heard about it. I had no idea what it was about. I'd made a bunch of films already, and it was recommended by my dad. Not saying watch Paris, Texas, but he kept saying, like, I was making these scenes and doing these things, and he watched my stuff and go, "Oh, that's like Paris, Texas." I go, "Oh, fucking, I better watch Paris,
like, is this
Texas."
a real compliment or not?
Yeah,
You gotta
I don't
find
know.
out.
So I watched Paris, Texas, and I'm like, holy shit! Like everything I do, every choice I make, the film I envision what I want to do is this film.
Yeah,
and it made me think a lot of the films that do subconsciously influence me. You know, from Coen Brothers, from the work of Roger Deakins, I realized they're influenced by that.
Yeah,
because that's much older than that. And yeah, I just think like an American film. I love seeing Americans do more art house. You know, obviously Wim Wenders is an American, but it's based in America, and seeing something that's not Hollywood, you know, in a Hollywood setting is really beautiful.
it's a really, really beautiful film. This is one of my favorites. I hadn't seen it for like 15 years. I saw it when I was a teenager. It was one of those true video store discoveries for me. And I became like such a lover of Wim Wenders. He's one of my very favorite filmmakers. Recently, I rewatched it at the cinema. They did, there's a new restoration coming out that looks beautiful, but I saw it on this like beat up celluloid.
Was it at Randwick Ritz?
It was at the Random
I was
Ritz.
there.
You were there?
I was there.
Man, how good was that screening?
How was the crowd? It was huge. It was,
humongous. It was like hundreds of people here.
I actually just
seeing
got
this film.
goosebumps knowing you were there as well.
Yes, dude, we've got the true connection.
Yeah.
And how, like, it just looked absolutely stunning in that celluloid. Like, there's something about seeing this film the way that it has been seen in the past and seeing it brought back like
You're
that.
seeing everyone's viewings because the print was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like it was like missing frames. It was going over here. There's hairs everywhere.
hairs
it
on
looked
it.
like shit. But
Yeah.
I went, this is
Someone spilled a coffee on it at
Yeah,
one
I was like,
point.
this is so cool.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And for a film like Paris, Texas, I think that texturally brings a lot to it because it is like this very somber road movie. It starts with a man who wanders the desert, doesn't know who he is, and his brother finds him and helps pull him back to reality, bring back his memory and what led him to walk out on his family that he disappeared from like 4 years earlier. And it has this real beautiful, like I don't think there's a movie that's more texturally beautiful than Paris, Texas. Shot by Robin Muller, a German filmmaker, German cinematographer. But the way he captures the landscape of America, there's just nothing like it. Like the way that the sand feels that yellow white, the way that the sun and the sky is like that really bright blue. It's just this perfect contrast that just evokes like so much about landscape. And that tells like it's able to tell story through framing, through cinematography, through vision.
Yeah, and it's just a different tone of American road trips. It's not like this fucking Route 66 down the highway. It's like a kind of sad, somber Route 66, you know. And it's got depth and complexity and depression, and I don't know. Like the story is beautiful, but for me, it's just the held back choices of the cinematography, of the edit, of the performances, of the space between that you don't see often and that I really resonate with.
It's like he goes, let's edit this long. Like, let's give every shot breathing room. Like, let's make you feel transcendental while watching this, where you have like that enough time between shots to absorb everything. And then because you slow down, you have like those moments to reflect and like resonate. And
It's like a meditation in a way. And it's that filmmaking is not gone, but it's there's not much of that anymore. People used to have longer attention spans than they do nowadays, and everyone wants things fast. And, you know, like as much as the series I've just made is fast and furious and trying to get everything across really quickly to keep people their attention, because I know that's the audience I'm trying to connect with in this.
And that's a tone you're creating.
It's a tone I'm deliberately doing. All I want to make is Paris, Texas. You know, I want to slow things down.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Also written by Sam Shepard, who's like one of the great American writers. But I'll say this, Wim Wenders, he's one of my heroes. Like I love freaking Wings of Desire. Perfect Days is one of my favorite movies in the last few years.
Have you seen his most recent? Because I haven't.
Yeah, Perfect Days.
Perfect
That's
Days
the
of
one.
Desire. Yeah, because
Dudes.
I saw Mad Men have been distributing that, and I
Yes.
saw the. I haven't watched it yet, but and I want to. But
You will love it.
But
You
I
will
love
it.
Kenny, the Australian
Yeah.
potty toilet humor kind of thing,
Yeah.
and Mad Men were doing a connection between
Yeah.
that film and Kenny, and I was
Can I
like,
do a
I'm
little
gonna like
inside
this.
scoop? I wrote my like little letterbox review for when I saw Perfect Days, and I said they should call it's like Japanese Kenny.
Yeah.
And the Mad Men sent me this, going like, "Hey, you've given us idea. We're going to make this video."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yes!"
And I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna love it, and that's
will
why
love it.
that's why I've just waited till I'm in the right space to watch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I met Wim Wenders it would have been 10 years ago or something now. He came to my film school to do a talk. And I will never forget it because it was like, I think I would have been like 19 or 20. So it was a little bit longer than 10 years. And he was wearing this cool, like kind of crushed linen gray suit and these great like Converse sneakers, these great glasses. Like, this is the coolest guy I've ever seen. And I remember just being so like overwhelmed. And I've never done shit like this, especially when I was 19. But he was just standing there talking to someone. I just walked up to him and I've never been this person. But I was like, "Mr. Wenders, thank you for your movies." Shook his hand and then walked off. I just was like,
and you would have been dying, going, "What did I just do?"
oh my God. I was like, why did I do it? I was like so nervous and just
Yeah.
like such a dork. But
Yeah.
that's the one time that I've given myself space to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I regret it.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've done that so many times, and not necessarily the directors, but yeah, working with actors that I love. Like Noah Taylor is in our series,
Yeah.
and I tried very, very hard to not geek out and not like not make that intro. And I think I did it successfully. Just be like, yeah, I'm cool. You're just a normal person.
Stop showing up on set.
But yeah, I've been there, done that.
What was the film of Noah Taylor that really captured him for you?
Oh, well, the year my voice broke, so like, great.
Unreal.
Great Australian film. And I mean, it found Noah Taylor and Ben Mendelsohn at the same time. It's funny, Noah keeps telling these stories about getting confused as Ben Mendelsohn. Like, in Australia, yeah. Someone comes down the street, "You're that bloke, you're," and he's like, yeah. And I can't pick it. Ben Mendelsohn. And Noah just goes, "I'm not Ben Mendelsohn," and they just won't believe it,
That's so funny.
But then apparently Ben gets the Noah Taylor now sometimes too, and as their
You're
careers,
the kid from Shine.
yeah, as their careers like, oh well, whoever's kind of like there at the time or had the recent thing, it becomes a thing. But yeah, no, Noah Taylor was brilliant to work with.
Oh, that's so funny. Man, well, that is Paris, Texas. If you've never seen it, it's just like the great access point. Like, I think it's a really great gateway into a deeper world of film. Do you have any final thoughts on Paris, Texas?
No, just if you haven't seen it, like watch it on when you've got time and
Yeah.
you just want to sit back and have a beautiful story told to you in a beautiful, respectful way, in a meditative way.
Beautifully put. And I'll put on that, we saw it in the cinema. It was a fucking amazing experience for us. There's this new restoration. The restoration looks beautiful. That will probably play in cinemas. So keep your eyes peeled for it, dudes. Keep your eyes peeled for it, but also try and see it on celluloid. Special on celluloid. All right, we're going to go into your next two picks. These are both from the Coen brothers. Where do you want to begin?
Oh, look, like Paris, Texas. I really respect what they did. I want to say did because they aren't doing as much together anymore.
Yeah, they've split up.
But yeah, there's this period of those two working together, making stuff that just everything worked for me.
I imagine they live in one big house together, and now there's just like a barrier in between the middle of the house.
And look, I wish I had a brother I could just write things with because I love bouncing ideas off people, and I find it very lonely writing by myself, and I do that a lot. But when I'm in a room with people or with someone and bouncing, it's the energy that you get from it and what you create. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And so just their films. I also love that they don't really. You can't really go. Like with Tarantino, you can go like, it's a Tarantino film. He has his thing. He has his style. With them, they kept mixing it up. And it's still Coen brothers. It's like almost they have a voice, but their voice is funny. Their voice is sad. Their voice is musicless and serious, you know, that, and I think that's what resonates with me is they went, oh, we're bored of this, let's go this way, and, oh, let's go that way now, and just kept it exciting until they ran out of things to do, and they went, oh, that's enough. Yeah,
I think that's so interesting because there is like that mix where like one film will be humorous, one like a really goofy, silly, weird comedy, and then the other one will be like deeply serious, and there was like an alternation between them, and since they split, one goes to make Tragedy of Macbeth, one of the best Shakespearean adaptations I've seen in years. So serious, so somber. The other one goes and makes like a road movie crime caper comedy with Drive-Away Dolls. And you go, oh, now I know which one's which.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what with these two brains? Is that how their brains work together?
Yeah, I think it must have, hey. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. But it's sort of like, I can understand how you write something together, but also just to, I mean, I'm so opinionated or like, you know, I want to have control of what I'm doing. I just kind of, at the same time, imagine going through a whole process of writing, directing, and editing, and being on the same page, and not like just having a big blow up and a big fight. Maybe that's why they don't work together anymore. Maybe there was a big fight. But they're just two odd dudes. I mean, watching interviews with them and stuff, like they just don't give anything away. Like you know, people. I've heard it. I watched the interview, and they're like, "So when you write, do you write your story, and then you because they have such great dialogue? They're like, do you write the story, and then do you go back and you specifically write the dialogue?" Then and they're just like looking at them like that's a fucking stupid question. They just won't answer it. I'm just like, what do you do? How do you do it? I don't know.
We want to know the secrets.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon maybe we should start with the one that's a little bit funnier. We'll start there. Oh brother, where art thou?
Comedy.
And this is one of their most loved, most cherished films. And it's so all about this beautiful bluegrass soundtrack that they've got with who is it? T-Bone Burnett.
T-Bone Burnett. Like he's a big part of their musical films, yeah.
Yeah, and when I started watching Thou Shalt Not Steal, I'm like, I can see that common thread, that DNA.
Yeah.
Tell me about your love of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I watched it when I was, probably first watched it when I was about 12, 13, I reckon, maybe. I just loved the story. I mean, I didn't want to be a filmmaker then, but I think
you wanted this to be a motorbike instead of a movie.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, what do I love about it? I just fucking love it. It's a musical, but it's not. It's not like I hate musicals where people start clapping and dancing, and I'm like, where the fuck did the music come from? It just starts playing.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a practical musical. It's like every bit of music's either it's a cappella, it's the religion in the the kind of deep south and like the singing, the voice, the choir, or it's the guy who sold his soul to the devil who can now play guitar and shred in the background, or it's like or it's the band on the ute that's trying to like sell someone trying to get into government. It's every bit of music comes from a real place in a scene, not just turn the music on.
And I think it's that grounded starting point for that allows it to feel a bit more like a musical, because it kind of there's almost like this slight tinge of magic realism or like supernature to this as well. That's that enhanced cinematic quality that has, and because it starts in that grander place, you're able to believe like the kind of grander aspects of this film as well.
Yeah. And it's just I can't remember where the story came from. It's
the Odyssey,
right?
Odyssey
of Homer.
Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah. Homer's Odyssey.
Ancient Greek.
I don't quite understand anything to do with that, but yeah, I just love it, and I just love how they tie in so much kind of, I want to say like not pop culture, but just like American culture and beliefs and ideas and the KKK and the this and the that and just the twists and the turns. And it's kind of just finger pointing at America and how ridiculous it is.
Yeah,
I like that. It's observant of American life or past American life. It's not like glorifying the good old days. It's like here's a bunch of fucking idiots in the good old days.
It's almost like observant on American storytelling and like American mythologizing.
Yeah,
I think it's so beautifully put, man. I think that's the power of this film.
And I mean, I Am a Man of Constant Sorrow. It's that's an old Appalachian Mountains song that Ralph Stanley. A lot of the music's from an old fella called Ralph Stanley, who's like the godfather of country music. We're talking like before Hank Williams and stuff. There's this guy Ralph Stanley, and a lot of the songs in that is from this guy who he recorded them from the Appalachian Mountains. And the story goes that they cast George Clooney in it. Obviously, they needed a big star to get the money to make the film. cast George. George's, I think his auntie or mother was an opera singer.
Yeah, I know Rosemary Clooney's his auntie. Who sings Mambo Italiano.
Yeah, there you go, Mambo Italiano. And so they went, well, he can sing. You know, he'll be able to sing. And they cast him, and then apparently he could not sing. And there's that key song, you know, there's the hero piece of the film. And then they actually had to overdub him and get someone else to do the singing for him.
What did this film teach you about kind of finding and marrying music to film?
Look, I haven't done it very well in Thou Shalt Not Steal, or I don't think I have. But like I was saying before, I've always... It's one of the few things my dad's really taught me, like actually specifically told me is, you know, music should be, we say diegetic. You have diegetic music and non-diegetic music. Non-diegetic's your score. It just sort of plays out of nowhere. Your diegetic's when someone puts on the record, presses the tape player. It's the band in the corner. It's finding places to have real music. And I think that's something that really taught me watching this. And it also taught me just to not take it too seriously, have fun with it, you know, and to see the Coen brothers who have made other films that are very serious, just having fun, you know, I really appreciate that.
I think it's so interesting you say your dad said that, because for me, like the great example is that like growing up with Samson Delilah, the kind of ska band day in, day out, I was like, that is how I always think about it, like that captures how time moves. That was just, that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah, and if you watch Samson Delilah, like my dad made Samson Delilah, that is my father, my heritage, and I was on set when we were shooting. He was shooting that when I was about 14, helping out in the school holidays. It was really interesting to see how that resonated with Australia. You know, I think that was a key thing too for me to become a filmmaker. Seeing it, actually, what my dad does is cool. It's sort of like not cool, but it's in.
It connects.
It connects. His messages can make a difference. It's not like, you know, it to me, like if you can tell a great story, it's as important as saving lives as a doctor. You know what I mean?
I think more important, in my opinion.
Yeah, but with
doctors
Samson,
are losers.
Yeah, but look, with Samson Delilah, all the music is what we call diegetic. It's practical until one song. There's one song at the end, Night Blindness, Troy Cassadaly.
Yes.
Plays this one song, and it's a one song that's not played through a tape player, a band, or something. And it becomes full in the cinema, and that's like the moment that always gets me. It makes me cry watching that film.
Man, it's one of the most beautiful films. And we've talked about one goofy Coen Brothers film. Now I must pay homage to the other side of the Coen family by looking at... It's shocking to think that this might be their most famous movie. And it's really hard to go, this might be the one, because they've made so many, and it feels like it comes at like almost a late point in their career. We're going to be talking about No Country for Old Men, the film that the Coen brothers made that won them their Oscar.
Crime.
No Country for Old Men.
One of the goosebumps again, thinking about it.
It's such a special film. I remember seeing it in the cinema when I was a teenager in high school. I think I saw this and There Will Be Blood in the same week. I was like, come on, movies are the best. This is the best. This is how life will be for the rest of my life. And I think No Country for Old Men, it's just that great neo-Western, you know? It takes the Western, brings it into... Like it felt like a new context. It feels like it's freshening up this thing, but it doesn't even feel it doesn't feel like a revisionist Western. It just feels like, no, this is crime, this is Western, this is neo-noir, this is neo-Western. I mean, I can't say enough about this film, but tell me about No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I mean, that came out or hit me when I wanted to be a filmmaker, you know, and it's just so fucking good. Like, I mean, it's from a great book that Cormac McCarthy wrote, and you know they're always inspired by something, but to see them copy a book and do it justice, you know, people don't usually do that. But I can talk about it a lot. It was actually that other film you mentioned, what was it called?
There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood was actually shot like kilometers away from where No Country for Old Men was shot. Apparently there was a day they had to stop shooting because over there they were doing tests with the oil rigs and fucking smoke in the air and stuff. And it was amazing they both went to the Oscars. Yeah, those two films. But No Country for Old Men, look, the opposite of what we just talked about in terms of music and diegetic music and practical music. This has no music. The film does not have a song in it. And I think to withhold people's attention and the suspense and a crime story, really, crime Western, whatever you want to call it, like to not have music is a really for them to do that's pretty bold, and they pulled it off. And there is like in the score, the sound design, there is sort of tones. There's slight wind sounds and sounds of cars, road noise, creaks, or things all the way through that are giving you suspense. But it isn't like, here's the violin strings and here's the drums and here's the whacks and here's the hits. And yeah,
it's so interesting because you almost forget it. You almost
You
forget
do.
it because you get lulled into it. And it is because the sound design is so powerful, so evocative. And it's interesting because I think if there was music, it would allow you to feel the emotions more. But I think without the music, instead of feeling emotions, it's the tension that it lets you feel. And it's not letting you feel empathy for the characters. It's making you feel you are the characters. You're trapped in there with them. And that's what gets you to that really heightened state. As well, it's also that foreboding presence of Javier Bardem as Anton Chigurh. That is one of those performances that I just think I can't even imagine who else could have done it. Like, he's just sensational in that role.
people like psychologists or psychiatrists has studied and said he's the, like, out of all the screen characters, like, the Joker, everyone, all this, he is like the most psychopathic kind of, like, he's got all the traits of a psychopath, like a complete, can't, he has no empathy.
And
It's
it
amazing.
translates so well. Like, even just talking about now, I am feeling that chill. This is a third goosebump count on the podcast.
But
The
it is
third goosebump
it's
count.
such a good film. And look, before Thou Shalt Not Steal that I've just done, which is, it's a little bit Oh Brother out there. It's a little bit, I don't know, pop fiction or other sort of Tarantino things and just everything really. But when I did Mystery Road Origin for the ABC a few years ago, Mystery Road, the film that Ivan Sen did, when I watched it, it's very much his sort of version of No Country for Old Men. It's sort of, I can see it in there and I can see that was a huge influence. And then the TV series happened. And so when I got my chance to make it, I went, well, I just see No Country for Old Men in it. And we completely ripped it off in so many ways. I mean, I had to put music in it. The ABC made me put music in it, but I would have not put music in it if I could have. But like,
Get the river cut.
there's even shots in Mystery Road where we completely copied a shot from No Country for Old Men, but we put like a Roger Deakins kind of the Coen Brothers initials in the scene, like just to go like, well, we know we're completely copying it, but like,
What do you mean?
And we want people. Well, like there's a shot in the sink of No Country for Old Men where he kind of like washes the blood off his hands, and we have the same thing in Mystery Road, and we just with toothpaste put like RD Roger Deakins. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like we know we're copying, and it's. I hope people see it as us just paying respect in terms of tone and what they set.
What is more respectful than scribbling their name in toothpaste? That's the greatest respect you can give.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, let's talk about the look of the film as well. Like, can you talk about like the way that, just the way that's kind of constructed, the way that plays with cinematography?
What I learned from like what the Coen Brothers do, but especially No Country for Old Men, is it's very, very rarely the same shot twice. And it's something I try to put into all of my work, is that every shot should lead you to another shot, to another shot. You could almost, if you were to plan it to a T, you could film it in camera, like you used to as a kid or on Super 8 where you kind of film that and then we're going to go over here and film this and film that. It's almost like that. So there's exceptions for that where two people are talking, where they will just go back and forth between the same frame. But I think that discipline and that storytelling, like very intentional storytelling and progressive storytelling in terms of this shot leads you to this, to this, to this, is something I learned from that. And a lot of that's Coen Brothers, but really a lot of that's Roger Deakins as a cinematographer, I believe, as well, because their works when they stopped working with him did change a little bit, the style of it. But yeah, he has, I don't know, to me, he's the master. And going back to Wim Wenders and his cinematographer, German cinematographer, like that, I can tell that they were influenced by Paris, Texas and their style. But it's I don't like to shoot with two cameras. They do that, so one camera shoot. Putting the camera where it needs to be in a scene and not just putting a bigger lens on from further back is very important to me. I think, like very often, Tyson, the cinematographer I work with, Tyson Perkins, he and I often shoot our things that we've done on one lens, like a 40mm, almost everything. Wide shot, close up, insert, it's almost the same lens all the time.
Yeah.
And it just gives this sort of continuity, and audiences wouldn't pick it, but they just sort of feel it. It just all feels seamless in a way. Yeah.
Man, that's great. I think that's so interesting you say, because there's one thing that I think about with the Coens is I actually think they're really great at shooting dialogue. Like the way that they're able to shoot dialogue, because it's not just like, oh, it's a dirty over the shoulder, flip and flop between the two of them. They're able to really construct the way a conversation flows by like how they change it for like the point of view in two-hander, like where the camera will end up being, is it just one person in the frame or is it two people in the frame? The way that they're able to do that, I think, is so expert that when you see a Coen Brothers script shot by or made not by a Coen Brothers, like there was a couple that George Clooney made, then you go, oh, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And I think when you see the way they shoot dialogue, that's where you can see it. Like if you watch Suburbicon or whatever, I think it's called Suburbicon, something like that, and then you watch a Coen Brothers film directed by them back to back, you go, oh, there's something really different about how you even approach making a script like this.
Yeah, and I think what I learned from them is that if you write it and then direct it, you envision it very early and you write to what you're going to shoot. You know what I mean? It's not like, I haven't done it before, but I'm sure getting given a script, I'll be like, then trying to work out, okay, how do I shoot this?
Yeah.
Whereas, when you write it, you write the words, you write the story, but you're imagining it. So you already know what the shots are going to be, and you hit certain points in a dialogue scene to try and hit that close up that you're going to end up with. Or if it's a comedy, you might go, I can see this last bit as just a wide shot, just it's all playing out and it's all awkward and whatever. So you're writing them in as you're envisioning it, and I think that's the power of being a writer director versus just a writer or just a director.
Yeah, I mean, beautifully put, man. I think, is there any final words you have on No Country for Old Men? Final thoughts?
If you haven't seen it, fucking watch it.
That's the main message. Like, watch the freaking movies, guys. You got to watch these films. So that's No Country for Old Men, one of the best. We could talk about forever. We have to move on. It is now time for me to give you that stuff pick recommendation.
Staff pick.
No Country for Old Men was kind of the jumping off point for me, trying to think for you, because I love like a neo-Western and I love that kind of thing. I've been exploring a lot of that kind of shit recently. But then also I want to really go for a road movie as well, because I think road movies, there's something about road movies that it's about that journey, that progression of journey. And Paris, Texas certainly has that. Thou Shalt Not Steal certainly has that. I was like, that's
My Brother Out There has that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like the great journey film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Odyssey.
Yeah.
So I really want to kind of find something that was in between those spaces for you. So I went back to a filmmaker that I've kind of been digging into a little bit more recently. Have you seen much of Sam Peckinpah?
No.
Okay, great. A sense of relief wafted over me.
I was going to have I watched it? Have I watched it?
Let's just say the goosebumps have recessed. They've gone back down to be no bumps, just goose. So we're talking about a film that I want to recommend to you by Sam Peckinpah. He did The Wild Bunch, is probably his best known film, but he's like one of the great American filmmakers. But he was one of those people that kind of got screwed by the system at every turn. But this film is the only film where he did not have that real studio interference. It's a film called Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Cult.
Okay. I have heard of it.
Yes.
And I've been told to watch it by some old editors I've worked with. They've gone, watch this. And I haven't watched it yet.
Trust those old editors, man. I think you will love this film. By the way, Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, best title the movie has ever had, by the way. One of the great titles.
One of the longest and greatest.
Longest. I love a title that's a full sentence.
Yeah.
If it had one comma somewhere in the middle, I'd love it.
Yeah, and it's good because it's like, well, what's it about? Well, bring me the head of...
Yeah. It says it all. It says it all there. Someone's demanding a head and someone's going to bring it. So it's made in Mexico on a low budget after the commercial failure of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, which is a Western he made that has a great Bob Dylan soundtrack, beautiful score. And Alfredo Garcia was, as Peckinpah claimed, the only one of his films released that had not that as he intended to be. And Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia is a blend of a road movie, a love story. It's a Mexican-American Western. And in many ways, it's this kind of unflinching self-portrait of Sam Peckinpah himself. And as he's kind of going on this downward spiral. And I'll give you a little plot synopsis as well. A bounty has been placed on the head of a notorious womanizer named Alfredo Garcia, and Benny, played amazingly by Warren Oates as a washed-up ex-army officer turned struggling piano player, sees this as his chance to escape his dead-end life. And with a tip-off from his wife, who knows where Garcia is, Benny sets out on a dangerous journey to claim the rewards. And so it's this great road movie where Benny Warren Oates, who is basically playing Sam Peckinpah, who's been on like this alcoholism for a long time. And so Warren Oates is like incorporating a lot of Peckinpah into his performance. So it becomes like this really raw self-portrait as well. But it's also this neo-Western. It's this noir film. It's this gangster film. It's this road movie as he's like hunting down this guy. And the coolest thing is, to show that progress, he's wearing this like white linen suit that starts off quite crisp. He doesn't change. So it's got blood all over it. It's got muck. It starts getting from white to beige to dark brown. It just gets crusty and crustier as the movie develops. And I've got this is one of my favorite quotes of criticism ever from Roger Ebert. I think I can feel Sam Peckinpah's heart beating and head pounding in every frame of Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, a film he made during a period of alcoholic fear and trembling. I think that's just such a fucking cool line.
I'm going to watch it.
Yes,
definitely.
dude,
Actually got me very, very excited. And the fact that it's been recommended to me before by people I really, admire and trust and know the things I'm doing, and now you've recommended it, I'm like, and so maybe my next film, people will be like, that's a bit like fucking...
This guy's got a decaying head in this movie. I wonder where that's from. I'm glad. It makes me feel better too, going, God, at least I was right. Other people have said you'll love it too. But I think you'll really dig it. Like, it's just like... Peckinpah is someone that was a bit of a blind spot for me, and now going back to seeing all his works, and so many of them now, like we've been saying, they were kind of mucked around by the system and like cut against his wishes. There's all these new cuts of them that are adhering to what he wanted or going back to his director's cuts. They're all being released and can be accessed now. So there's no better time to get into Sam Peckinpah than the 21st century, where you can see what he really wanted to make.
Yeah.
So hopefully that starts you on a little journey of your own as well.
Yeah, and hopefully a lot of people watching this as well, can watch that film.
Let's hope. And hopefully they'll watch Thou Shalt Not Steal as well.
Yeah, Thou Shalt Not Steal. It's out on Stan. 8 half-an-hour episodes. You might end up binging it in a night. But look, I hate a TV series that's got 5 seasons and I have to commit the next 2 weeks full time to watching it. It's a one-off. It's a little series. It's get around it.
It's beautiful stuff. Dylan, thank you so much for jumping in. You're going home with a beautiful stack of movies, and I know that you're worried about those late fees, so if you're not, I'm going to come for your head, brother. Thanks, if you don't bring it back on time.
I better get out my VHS player and dust it off, eh?
Sounds good, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The last video store.
Thank you for checking out The Last Video Store with me, your host, Alexi Toliopoulos. Please subscribe, follow, share the podcast amongst your friends as well. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, Last Video Store Batuta. So check us out and share us in all of those places. And if you want your own bespoke customized recommendation from me, you can submit an online order at any of those places, in a comment, in a 5-star review, with your weeklies and your new release pick, and I will come to you like I did at the top of this episode and give you a recommendation based on your taste. So thank you very much. Love you, love movies.